Hello you beautiful people, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. Thank you for being with me today. My name's Kirsten and this is where I craft an art, and I've just realised that you've turned from lovely people into beautiful people. Aren't you lucky? Today we're on day 21 of Index Card a Day, and the word today is crystal. And yeah, I've got an idea. We'll see if it works. This could be either a disaster or it could be, oh, that was a clever idea. First thing is I need 2 of these pale blue circles. There we go. 2 pale blue circles. And for those of you who are interested, it's a 1 1/4 inch punch I've used. Now I'm going to stick those 2 circles on there. Oh, yeah. While I'm doing this, remind you that the details are below. It's Daisy Yellow that started this some 11 years ago, and Mary Ellen over in Red Parrot and some numbers is also doing index cards. As she keeps saying, she's doing it very differently for me because she's not following the prompts, whereas I'm following the prompts. That's just because she's got more inclination not to follow prompts than I do. I'm not really a one for doing as I'm told, but see, when it comes to these prompts, they're what stretches me. And it's too easy to just, for me, it's too easy to just keep doing my own little thing. So I quite like the fact that these prompts stretch me. Right, so that doesn't look much like a crystal. I've got a pencil. This is where it could all go pear-shaped. I'm just going to do a wee bit of hand drawing because the mini challenge this week, which I haven't as yet done, involves hand drawing. So I thought I could hand draw well, I thought I could it's not hand drawing the crystal, but that's kind of the, because of the colour, I'm hoping, despite my I did wonder, actually, maybe I should do that. I'm going to change. This is a 4H, but what I'm actually going to change, I'm going to change to one of my favourite pencils. Well, it's not one of my favourite pencils. It's a wee set of favourite pencils. I love these. These are tinted charcoals. And if I use them, oh, actually, I should use the other one. It seems they're using the tinted, no, just use the tinted charcoals, Kirsten. I was going to go and get something else, but I'm just going to use the tinted charcoals because I want to use this kind of white because then it kind of, I'm hoping that makes it look more like a crystal if I'm using that. It's interesting, it's looking interesting how that's had reacting to the, oh, it's obviously to the paper it must be reacting. So maybe I shouldn't have done that after all. Right, okay. That wasn't a right idea. I'm just going to, you can see how that's all, just about all just fallen off. I'm just now having to think, am I going to go and get, yeah, I'll just go back to this. I'm just going to go back to this. This is probably showing up more now because it's now on the white. See, it doesn't show up as much when it's back on the paper. This is what happens when somebody that can't draw is given a drawing implement. It's going to get worse before it gets better, if it gets better at all. Actually, that's quite wonky, but I kind of like it kind of wonky like that. Okay, so what we have there is we have kind of two crystals. And crystal is today's word. I'm just going to go over this because of the... Oh, see, and suddenly it becomes... Now, the crystals aren't round, but I've done them in a circle to make them look kind of round. Because the thing that we're supposed to be drawing today, hand drawing, is, well, not today, crystal's today's word, but this week's mini challenge is to hand draw a bike. So, there's the wheels. Now, I've been trying to work this out for ages, so just bear with me. We have if this is the front wheel, we have a spoke that comes up like that, and this is the handlebars. Then this goes down here to where the gears are. Oh, we've got another crystal there, can't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's maybe even less of a crystal shape, but right, another crystal. That's the gears and where the pedals would be. And then this then needs to go to the back wheel. So we've got to have one across there to the back wheel. Then from this point up and kind of back, we need the post which has the seat on. I'm trying to think, is that all that goes onto the front wheel, or does this go into that? No, because the pedals turn the back wheel, don't they? Right, so that's there. And then if you're a man, it goes across there to brace this. And if you're a woman, it comes down here. But I think I'm going to do the one that goes across just because I think it's probably going to make it look more bike-like. So there's that going across there. So this needs to be a seat. And the seat tends to be, then gets kind of bigger at the back. Oh, this is just hysterical. You have no idea how much I'm laughing inside at this. Right. And that seems to be needing to go up a bit higher. That seems to be, this one here just doesn't seem to have enough. To me, I'm going to have to look up a picture of a bike in a second, aren't I? Because to me, that just doesn't seem to be enough. It could just be the proportions I've got it that making it look odd. Very low down. Mind you, it's in the centre. That's above the wheel, so that's maybe it's very far apart. Is that what it is? Should the wheels be closer together? It's too late to sort that out. Let's just put on some handlebars and see if that helps any. We could do those curly round handlebars, couldn't we? Do they still have those curly ones? Oh no, which way do these ones want to go? That's going, it wants to come round like that. Okay. And we need some, is that the right, okay, and then we need the chain. So let's just do the chain as kind of dots along there and along here, because this will be the other cog for the chain, because there it is there in its little thing. Is that right? This looks awfully far away from that, but I think that's just my bad drawing. Oh dear. I'm just wondering if we just call that a day at that. This, Mary Ellen, is why I mark, make and not draw. Well, it kind of looks like a bike. I'm going to put these away and have a think about what else I might do actually, and I've just had a thought, maybe I should have done a penny farthing. That might have been more like it, but then I'm just might be make it even harder for myself. There'll be somebody somewhere on the internet who will have seen that challenge and gone, oh, I'll just draw a bike, and in half the time it's taken me to draw that, they will have drawn something that actually looks like a bike. I'm just getting out my roll of coloured pencils, because I think what I'm going to do, I've not got very many coloured pencils, but somebody told me that if I was going to do things, they saw the coloured pencils I was using, they said it's worth having less coloured pencils. It was a pack of like 200 and something coloured pencils. It's worth having less coloured pencils in colours you like, or in colours you need, and going for good quality ones. So I occasionally treat myself to a coloured pencil. I do have some ones that you can do watercolour with as well, which I love. I've got more of them. But these are my just coloured pencil ones, and I'm going to use a colour. I think I'm going to use this one. So yes, these are not cheap by any manner of means, but they're just, it's like you feel them creamy they don't feel like a pencil. It's really quite interesting. So I'm going to do all the frame, and so in effect this bit's a bit of the frame, isn't it really? Oh well, it's also a bit of the thing. Now, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm prattling. There's something new. And I'll just do this one. I'll just make these all a bit thicker. This would be a nice colour bike, but then that's because I like this colour. I like teal. It's one of my favourites. Well, maybe it's my favourite colour. Let's just make these all just a wee bit broader. Is this now colouring in rather than drawing? That's the question I'm now asking myself. Do I want to colour all that in? I don't know why I wanted to do that, but I did. And I feel like this one should be as well, but maybe just the centre bit there, because this is acting as a chain, isn't it? Let's do this bit up here. And let's do this bit along here. Now you see, if I had a black, which I haven't got, I'd then use black for the handlebars and the seat. But I don't have a black, but I have a brown. I have a dark blue as well, but I think I'll use the brown. Now, you can see how little I use these. But I do love using them when I do use them. And I should have maybe taken a rubber and rubbed out the other stuff first, but never mind. Let's just, and seats tend to come down and be that kind of shape, don't they? To to make them more comfortable so you don't end up with a sore backside. Now let's use this grey for the chain. And what we haven't got yet is pedals, and I'm just trying to think. The pedals would be side on like this. You're going to see, you see it, that's turned and the wheel isn't turned. I think that's maybe why it looks odd, but anyway, side on the pedals you would just see like the thing the pedals were on, and then a bit in the back. So if we make, and the pedals, are the pedals each totally opposite? I think they are, aren't they? Or are they more? I'm going to have to look that up because I don't know is the answer to that question. So let's do a wee internet search for a bicycle. Okay, let's have a look. There's a bit that I'm missing, a bit that goes from there down to here. Or from there, from that point down to here. So I need to put that bit on. And yes, the pedals are, yeah, that bit there needs to go on, but this bit here is right. Mudguards, there's no mudguards either, is there? Right, so let's start by putting this bit on before I forget. So from here to here, and doesn't look, see how these, oh, that's because that's the different, that's the peacock I picked up then, didn't I? Oh dear, don't let me near drawing. There we go. Oops. Right, pedals are not in the colour. Let's use this as a kind of metal colour again, and we'll go up there and up there, and then we'll get the brown out again for a pedal either side. Okay, still looks weird at the front, but mudguards I said, didn't I? And they need to go in this colour. So on the back here, a wee mudguard. And on the front here, a mudguard. It kind of goes a bit further down. And over this way a bit, I think. Too late now, Kirsten. You've done it now. Well, most of these actually don't have mudguards at all. But yes, it does go back over. In fact, there's more back than there is front. So that was a mistake. Take this down here. And this needs to go, because of course you're wanting to stop it splashing up into you. There we go. That's okay. That's okay. I can live with that. Let's just see if we can make this a bit more smooth and luscious. And no, we can't. That's better. take this one down here. Don't want it getting in the way of the chain though, do we? I know what you're all screaming at me, aren't you? You're going, why don't you put a basket on the back? Well, do you know what? Why don't I put a basket on the back? But why don't I? Because so far, the only collage we've got is these two wheels behind the crystals. Why don't I get my papers and see if we can collage a basket. Let's use the wee bits. Oh, let's not use Gone Wild, which was what I was going to use as my word. Let's see if we can collage a little basket for the back of this. And let's just put some on the back so we can now stick it in place on the bicycle, which is hand drawn, and this week's mini prompt, extra prompt. And it has crystal wheels, which is today's prompt. Now, let me see. I've got a bicycle that's acceptable. It's not going to be any better than that. But I think what I might do though is I might take this green and put some grass behind. And if I try, it's just going to be too funny, so I'm just going to stop right there. before I make an utter fool of myself. A long time ago, when I was at school, for the first 2 years of secondary school, what we call secondary school in Scotland, it's high school in some places, and it's a kind of school, it's the 2 years as you become a teenager. The first year you kind of turn 13 and then you turn 14. And for those 2 years in Scotland at the time, I think it's maybe still the case, you had to do art for those 2 years. There were certain subjects you had to do for those 2 years, and art was one of them. And I quite enjoyed art. I knew I wasn't very good, but I quite enjoyed it because I love sticking things. I love playing with paper. I love playing with clay. But I just couldn't draw to save myself. And I tried, I really tried, but it didn't matter how much I wanted something to look like it was supposed to look. It always looked like somebody had squashed it or sat on it or something. And the teacher used to get very frustrated with me and say that I wasn't trying, but I was trying. I can tell you I was trying. I desperately wanted to be able to draw and paint like some of the other people in the class could, but I just couldn't. So for the first year, there was a lot of, come on, try harder, Kirsten. And Kirsten tried harder and still couldn't get anywhere. Oh, that was what I was going to do. I'll do it with this is a Scotch Timber Distress watercolour. I just want to make the tyres round the wheels, round the crystals. I was telling you the story. Get back to telling the story, Kirsten. You can tell the story and just put tyres on those wheels. So for the first year, it was just this constant try harder, and I was trying as hard as I could, and it just wasn't getting anywhere. And at the end of the first year, the teacher actually said in front of the whole class, "It's been a joy to have you all. I do hope that I'll be teaching you again next year, apart from you, Kirsten," which is lovely. And the second year came round and I was in her class again. And we had the first week and she said, "Oh, I just wish you'd try harder, Kirsten." And I said, "I'm trying, I can't get it, miss." And she said, "Oh, just get out of my class and don't bother coming back. You're wasting my time and yours." And so I was chucked out of art. And I didn't know what I was supposed to do. And I ended up being shoved in a Latin class because there was a Latin class. But I wasn't allowed to be doing Latin. I did Latin anyway. I wasn't allowed to do Latin in the Latin class. I was allowed to read, but I wasn't allowed to do Latin because it was a different Latin class to my Latin class. I think it was the Latin teacher took pity on me. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he couldn't draw either. So ever since then, I didn't draw for years, donkey's years. I didn't draw. I didn't paint. I didn't do anything at all for donkey's years. And then when I had children, I started doing wee bits, but the horror, the memories stops you doing anything more than that. And it was a friend said to me, probably about 10 years ago now, if not a wee bit longer, just try and don't worry about what it looks like, because it's not about what it looks like, it's about the enjoyment you get out of it. And so I tried, and it was a disaster because I was trying to, I'd taken lots of photographs. I'm rambling now, but I'll finish the story. I'd taken lots of photographs in the intervening years, and I was trying to paint like a photograph, and I just couldn't do it. And I knew I couldn't do it, and it was just horrible, and the paint's all mixed and everything. So I didn't do anything again for about 2.5 years, and then somebody said to me, just paint the shapes. Don't paint the thing, paint the shapes. So I painted the shapes, and actually I quite like the shapes. So now I've got a funny kind of, I still can't draw. I can paint how I like to paint, and I do everything in shapes, which annoys people who can draw this. Like, oh, that's nonsense. But anyway, right, shut up, Kirsten. Here we go. Gone Wild with Crystal, which is today's, and Bicycle, which hand-drawn bicycle even, which was this week's mini prompt. And you've already seen Terezzo and Ivy and Ranculus, Buttercup. And the other three from this week are Beach, and I decided I couldn't do a beach, but I do love folding paper as well. So I made a paper boat out of a sand dune, because there's a sand dunes in this magazine. Out of a sand dune, and it's not in the sea because it's beached. Yeah, okay. We then had alternating, and I do love some paper weaving, so I've done some paper weaving for that. And then yesterday was gold, and I tore up this image and did some kinzuki. I stuck it all back down together and then just did some gold lines to do some kinzuki. But today was Crystal. Thank you so much for staying to this bitter end, if you're here to the bitter end. I hope you have a very pleasant weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow if you're around tomorrow, because yes, I've got a video for tomorrow as well. Don't ask, I don't know what's going on, but I do have a video for tomorrow as well. Until then, or until whenever you then watch me, take care, keep crafting. Bye for now. Thanks for watching.